Okay, let's start. So today we'll be starting with hemodialysis. Okay, a very important topic, hemodialysis. Now let's first understand what happens in hemodialysis. Okay, now listen to this very carefully. In hemodialysis, what we do, we clear the blood. Yes or no? What we do in hemodialysis? Yeah. We clear the toxic blood. Whenever dialysis occurs, we had seen in the last class that there is a score. The name of that score is EGFR score. Yes or no? EGFR score. And in that EGFR score, in G3C, G4, in those stages, dialysis is indicated. Yes or no? Dialysis is not a process which doctors like to do, because dialysis eventually decreases the span of your life. Yes or no? Every time you are doing dialysis, every time your lifespan is decreasing. Now, what dialysis does? Dialysis actually performs on the principle of diffusion. Yes or no? Dialysis actually performs on the principle of diffusion, where in the kidney, okay, the kidney where dialysis is performed, actually that kidney is devastated. Yes or no? That kidney is actually lost. That kidney is not able to perform the function that it actually does. Then what eventually occurs in the body? Eventually in the body there is buildup of toxin. Yes or no? Toxin starts to get accumulated in the body. Now what type of toxin? It can be urea, it can be creatine, it can be creatinine. Yes or no? It can be hippuric acid. There is one specific acid name is hippuric acid. So urea, creatinine, hippuric acid, it tends to get accumulated in the blood of that patient. And then the blood of that patient become toxic. Yes or no? Then what occurs? A membrane is there. Okay. So two type of solution is placed, where in one type of solution there is normal blood, everything normal, and one is the patient blood. Okay. Now patient blood is filled up with all the solute. Normal blood don't have any type of solute, don't have any type of toxin. The toxin from the patient blood diffuses out to the solute, the substance that we put. Yes or no? Then eventually the patient blood, which is full of toxic substances, that gets somehow better. Yes or no? And that blood is again pumped into the body. So that's the principle of dialysis. Now let's see what occurs in dialysis. Suppose, मान लो this is a renal artery. Okay, suppose मान लो this is a renal artery. Okay. Now from this renal artery, the blood is pushed. Okay, the blood is taken out from the body. ध्यान से सुनो मेरे बात. क्या हो रहा है इधर? The blood is taken away from the body. ठीक है ना? बॉडी से ब्लड बाहर जा रहा है. ठीक है. Then this blood is put into a pump. Where the blood is pumped, the blood is put into a pump. ठीक है. Where the blood is put, it is put into a pump. Now what is there in this pump? In this pump, 0 degree Celsius temperature is maintained. Okay, what happens in this pump? In this pump, 0 degree Celsius temperature is maintained. ठीक है. 0 degree Celsius temperature is maintained. So basically what is occurring? Blood को cool कर रहा है ना? So there is cooling of blood. Yes or no? There is cooling of blood. Yes or no? So from the renal artery, blood is going into a pump. In that pump, there is 0 degree Celsius. ठीक है ना? और 0 degree Celsius temperature को maintain कर रहा है. And whenever 0 degree Celsius temperature is maintained, then automatically blood is getting cooled. ठीक है ना? Then this blood is pushed forward. Yes or no? And in that chamber, listen to this very carefully. The blood is taken away from the body. Yes or no? Now, in my body, there is presence of natural anticoagulant. Okay, in my body there is presence of natural anticoagulant. ये anticoagulant क्या करता है? मेरा blood को clot होने नहीं देता. Yes or no? It prevents the clotting of blood inside my body. But whenever blood is taken away from the body, the blood will definitely get clot. Yes or no? The blood will definitely get clot ना. Suppose मान लो तो ये you put taken out 200 ml of blood and you placed it here. ठीक है, after some time the blood will clot ना. Yes or no? The blood will not remain the same. So here also the blood is taken away from the body. So clot করে তো heparin দেয়, anticoagulant দেওয়া হয়. Yes or no? Otherwise, how will you be there? EDTA is there. EDTA is placed. Okay. So what occurs here? The blood is taken away from the body. So if the blood is taken away from the body, there is higher chances that the blood will be clot. Yes or no? As a result, anticoagulant is given. What is given? Anticoagulant is given. Okay. What is given here? Anticoagulant is given. Now, what type of anticoagulant is given? The name of the anticoagulant is heparin. The name of the anticoagulant is heparin. ठीक है, so heparin is given in the blood. समझ में आ रहा है बात? What type of anticoagulant is given? Heparin is put in the blood. ठीक है ना? Then ये जो blood है, this blood is taken inside the dialysis machine. So this is your dialysis machine. Okay, what is this? This is your dialysis chamber or dialysis machine. ठीक है, so the blood is put into dialysis chamber or dialysis machine. Yes or no? Now in the dialysis machine, if you can see, there is presence of many chambers like this. Yes or no? There is presence of many chambers like this, and the blood will flow in these chambers. Yes or no? The blood will flow in these chambers. है ना? Now in this chamber, if you can see in the side, these are actually membrane. Okay, these are actually membrane. Okay, these are called as parchment membrane. This one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, these are called as parchment membrane. Okay, and this parchment membrane is made up of cellophane paper. It is made up of cellophane. Okay, this parchment membrane is made up of cellophane. And what is the characteristic of this membrane? The characteristic of this membrane is it is semi-permeable. It is semi-permeable. So by the term in semi-permeable, we mean that it will allow certain things to enter, but not the entire thing. Yes, no, it will allow certain solute to enter, but not every single thing, not all the solvent, not all the solute, but it will permit allowance of certain solute to pass through it. Yes or no? So this is your semi-permeable membrane. Now, listen to this very carefully. What is the other thing that is occurring here? This is the entire dialysis machine or the dialysis chamber. There is one inlet. Okay, so this is inlet. So through this inlet, a fluid is passed. क्या बोला मैंने? Through this inlet, a fluid is passed. Now, what fluid is passed through this membrane? Through this inlet, the fluid is known as dialysate. The fluid is known as dialysate or dialysate fluid. Okay, what is passed? Dialysate, which is also called as dialysate fluid. Now, what is the characteristic of this dialysate? The characteristic of this dialysate or the dialysate fluid is that it is same as that of blood. In terms of composition, it is same as that of blood. ठीक है? It is same as that of blood. Only certain changes are there. Now, what are the changes? The changes is that there is no creatinine. There is no creatine. Okay. There is little urea. There is little urea. And there is no hippuric acid. And there is no hippuric acid. So what are the changes that is there in the dialysate? The changes is that there is no creatinine, there is no creatine, there is very little urea, and there is no hippuric acid. So what are these substances? These substances are the toxic substances. These substances are the toxic substances in your body which causes the abnormalities. Yes or no? Which causes the abnormalities. So these substances is not present in the dialysate fluid. So apart from these toxic substances, all other substance will be same as that of blood. Yes or no? Blood में जैसा भी composition होगा, इधर में भी composition, inlet में भी composition same है. सिर्फ क्रिएटिन नहीं होगा, क्रिएटिनिन नहीं होगा, हिप्पुरिक एसिड नहीं होगा, और वेरी small amount of urea will be there, because in a normal kidney also little amount of urea remains in your blood, because this urea helps in maintaining the osmolarity. As a result, little amount of urea remains in the blood in normal case scenario as well. Okay, so that's why in the dialysate fluid also similar composition is maintained as that of a healthy blood. Yes or no? So this is the dialysate fluid. So if you can see here, the dialysate fluid is this. Yes or no? So this dialysate fluid is passing through the inlet. Yes or no? Now this dialysate fluid is moving in this part as well. Yes or no? So this is also your dialysate fluid. ठीक है ना? So this is also your dialysate fluid. Yes or no? So in this chamber also there is presence of this dialysate fluid. है ना? Now if you can appreciate that this is the normal blood. Yes or no? This is the blood of the patient, and these are the dialysate fluid. Yes or no? Here dialysate, 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 dialysate. Under में there is blood. Now in the blood there is presence of excess amount of urea. There is presence of excess amount of creatinine. There is presence of excess amount of creatinine. There is presence of excess amount of hippuric acid. Yes or no? तो ब्लड में ये सब चीज क्या ज्यादा है ना? तो सपोज मान लो दिस इज द पेशेंट ब्लड, राइट? यस और नो? दिस इज द पेशेंट ब्लड एंड दिस इज द dialysate. Higher na? Now in the patient blood there is excess amount of urea, excess amount of creatinine. Yes or no? Excess amount of urea, excess amount of creatinine, excess amount of creatine, excess amount of hippuric acid. Yes or no? और डायलाइसेट में ये सब कुछ है या है? नहीं है, नहीं है ना? तो क्या होगा इधर में? What is going to occur here? Now in this part there will be diffusion. Yes or no? There will be diffusion. So blood से all the toxic substance will be diffused into the dialysate fluid. Yes or no? Blood से all the toxic substances will be diffused out into the dialysate fluid. Yes or no? And then the dialysate fluid will be filled with toxic substances, and blood will get relieved of the toxic substances. Yes or no? Now the dialysate fluid is now filled with all the toxic substances. Yes or no? Now the dialysate fluid had to be removed out. Otherwise diffusion कैसे होगा? ठीक है ना? अदरवाइज तो डिफ्यूजन नहीं होगा, बराबर हो जाएगा ना, 50-50 बन जाएगा. एक वक्त में तो ऐसा होगा ना 50-50 हो जाएगा, जब मान लो ब्लड से आधा जो इम्प्यूरिटीज है, जो सोल्यूट है, वो निकल गया और आधा आ गया डायलिसिस में. सो डायलिसिस में 50% यूरिया, ब्लड में भी 50% यूरिया, डायलिसिस में 50% क्रिएटिन, ब्लड में भी 50% क्रिएटिन, डायलिसिस में 50% हिप्पुरिक एसिड, ब्लड में भी 50% हिप्पुरिक एसिड. नाउ इफ दिस सिनेरियो कम, कोई डिफ्यूजन हो पाएगा क्या? कोई डिफ्यूजन नहीं होगा. That's why there is an outlet. So what is this? This is the outlet. So whenever the dialysate fluid will be filled with impurities, then automatically the dialysate fluid will be removed from the chamber and fresh fluid will be passed on, so that this scenario never arise. समझ में आया? So that this scenario never arise. And whenever the entire blood will be completely freshed up, then देखो, this blood will be passed through this chamber. Yes or no? And what is this? This is going to be the fresh blood. Yes or no? This is going to be the fresh blood. Hi, Anna. This is the fresh blood. Now, this fresh blood is now pushed into another pump. Okay, this blood is now pushed into another pump. Now, अब ये pump क्या जरूरत है? What is the requirement of this pump? The requirement of this pump is that here the temperature of the blood is still 0 degree, very low. Now, if you infuse that 0 degree Celsius temperature of blood into the patient body, then there will be reaction. Yes or no? There will be reaction. So this thing cannot occur. So as it समझ में आ रहा है ना बात? If you infuse that 0 degree Celsius temperature blood back to the patient body, there will be problem, there will be complication. So here what occurs? Here warming of blood take place. Here warming of blood take place, and the warming means the blood is again sent back to the body temperature. Yes or no? Warming of blood take place. Yes or no? What occurs here? Warming of blood take place. So सिर्फ warming करने से होगा क्या? ना, क्यों नहीं? Because here we had given anticoagulant heparin. ये तो ना, इधर में ब्लड में क्या है? एंटीकोआगुलेंट हेपारिन. अगर हेपारिन ब्लड में है, एंटीकोआगुलेंट है, मतलब कोई कोआगुलेटिंग प्रोटीन नहीं है. तो अगर ऐसा ही सिचुएशन बना रहेगा, इफ यू हैव ए माइन्यूट कट इन योर बॉडी, ऑल द ब्लड विल बी वॉश्ड अवे. कोई ब्लड तो रुकेगा ही नहीं, ब्लड तो क्लॉट ही नहीं होगा. तो ये तो बड़ा दिक्कत हो गया. ये सुन लो, इफ यू स्नीज अ लिटिल, जुड़े যদি কাশি দেস, then through the throat the blood will come out. Yes or no? Small minute bleeding हो जाएगा, then he will bleed to death. So this thing should not occur. As a result, here again coagulant is given, blood coagulant is given. Okay, ज्यादा नहीं, so that the blood comes to normal condition. Yes or no? Slight amount of coagulant is also given, so that the blood comes into normal condition. समझ में आ रहा है? And then everyone written up to this much. And then the blood is pushed. Okay, and then the blood is pushed into renal vein, into renal vein. So renal artery से blood निकाला था, and the blood has entered into renal vein. Then it will go into vena cavas. Through the vena cava, it will go into heart, and here the heart will again pump, and the blood will again be taken away by aorta. And that's the entire system of hemodialysis. समझ में आया? So that's how hemodialysis occurs. Yes or no? कोई confusion है किसी का? Okay.